Will, here we sit another day and we wait to hear where Kyle Tucker's going. Is he going to be a Cub? Is he going to be a Philly? I don't know. Like, where's he going?
Say Yankees.
Oh, no, I can't say that word. That word is not allowed in my vernacular. You know what? Let's just talk about it.
Yainel Diaz, this is Locked On Astros.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chancey.
We are Locked On Houston Astros, and we hope that you join us for a daily Locked On Astros podcast. You can find me on X at Eric Talks Astros. You can find the show at Locked On Astros, your team every day. Brett, where can you find you at?
They can find me at H-Town Wheelhouse on X, Instagram, and TikTok, at Stros411 on X and on Facebook, and Back to the Bullpen on X, on Instagram, and on YouTube and iHeartRadio, where I'm always positive, always Stros.
Hey guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. Whether it's on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to us. Make us your first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Go and check out the Locked On Astros podcast. We really do appreciate each and every one of you. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. So the winter meetings are over. That does not mean that the excitement is over. We still have a long offseason, especially with all the, is Kyle Tucker going? Is he not going? Or is Alex Bregman coming back? Or is he not coming back? I think we don't really know what the answer is as of right now. But what we do know is that there's a lot of talk about what's going on with the Houston Astros. And is Kyle Tucker going to be with them next year, or is he going to be the next bait to bring in the next Astros players?
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, in the midst of all this stuff, Eric, I don't know if you've noticed it, but the Astros social media account, ex social media account director, whoever it is, created quite a firestorm. Did you see what they posted about the young guns? It was like something about the young guns, and everybody, even the news reporters like Randy McAvoy, they're like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if this is right. Or as Eric would say,
Devereaux mentioned something like, this is odd timing.
Yeah, it's really bad timing, isn't it? And it's like, read the room, guys. I mean, they are under some kind of scrutiny right now. Yes, the young guns. Good Lord. And someone's like, really? That's pathetic. And it is just, oh my gosh, everybody freaked out. And look, the reason why everybody's all up in their feels is because we just had the worst season we've had in 8 years. You know, we have people that I call the 17ers who didn't show up until 2017. And so all they know is winning. And it's just one of those things where the question is, what are the Astros going to do? Is this going to be a complete rebuild? You know, last night's title was appropriately titled, Eric, and you came up with that title, and I just wrote an article and published it, and I gave you credit for the title. Okay. I was like, Eric came up with this, so I titled my article that on X. But here is what I think we have to realize. This is not, again, I mentioned it last night, and I just want to go over it and review, students, because we have a final tomorrow. That if the Astros aren't looking to tear down, they're looking to be competitive. And what that means is they want to get prospects back. They want major league ready players. They plan on competing. The AL West is like the AFC South of the NFL. It is a very weak division. Right. And you may not even win 90 games, but you can still win the division. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And so Kyle Tucker is still here. I think there is a hang up on how many prospects, and it may be the style of package, I think, with the Cubs. I don't think the Cubs want to give up Suzuki and Shaw, Suzuki and, Cam, and, all these different guys that they have, because they have a lot of picks. And there's also, we'll talk about the Giants and the Phillies later, there's other teams that have been rumored.
And don't forget that Suzuki has a no trade clause, so he actually has to approve a trade. So that makes it a little bit harder. But if he goes to a team like the Astros, maybe he'll agree to that. But the Cubs actually have to get his approval first before any type of trades. But there's a lot of stuff that goes on because giving up Isaac Paredes and then Suzuki, that's a big ask. But then you're asking for a top 100 prospect at least. And that's a big ask even for somebody like Kyle Tucker, because you're asking for 5 years of control for 2 quality major leaguers. And then you're also getting a top 100 player for 1 year of control of Kyle Tucker. That's a lot. And so you also have the Yankees. The Yankees are desperate. I don't care what they say. They have a abundance of starting pitching right now, especially after getting freed. So now they have 8 starting pitchers. And so they definitely can afford to lose a starting pitcher. And Hill is the guy that won the Rookie of the Year last year, but they can, I don't want to say he's the weakest link, but he is the guy that they can most likely afford to trade. So I think that would be a good deal for the Astros also if the Yankees are involved, because they can get Hill. They could also get Jason Dominguez if the Yankees give him up. I don't think they'll give up Jazz Chisholm. I think he's part of the team, but I think this is the Yankees. They're scared of another rental, but at the same time, I think with somebody like Kyle Tucker, show him a year at the Bronx, and I think that maybe they think they can woo him over to the dark side.
Now, that may be the case, but I was reading a couple articles tonight from different talking heads from different outlets, and it seems like, Eric, Boris pissed off the Yankees with Juan Soto, because Boris used the Yankees to drive up Juan Soto's price.
Right.
But what I hear is it's at irreparable status between Boris and the Yankees, which, if that's the case, I think you probably are. I have a hard time believing that Kyle Tucker's going to the Yankees. I have a hard time.
His agent, it's not Boris.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm talking about in regards to Alex Bregman going to the Yankees. Right. Now, Kyle Tucker going to the Yankees, I just don't. Why would the Astros trade with a team that is their perennial competition?
If it gives them the best return, they'll deal with that later. If they give them the best team that will beat the Yankees' butts down the road, who cares? They've beat them before.
That's true. I just think of, but then again, and no offense, Kyle Tucker, because we know you're listening, he didn't really perform well in the playoffs, kind of like Aaron Judge. That might be something that keeps are you going to break another bobblehead, Eric?
King Tuck.
Is Eric, do the arms flying off of Alex Bregman, was that a foreshadowing of Alex Bregman not returning? I'm joking.
No. That was 2 years ago, dude. Let it go.
Oh, I know. Yeah, hey man, people still talk about 17 to me. But Kyle Tucker makes sense to me, Cubs. And they just have the best set of returns that we can get. This is a great core, Eric. Now, what if we trade Tucker to the Cubs? We get Isaac Paredes. We don't get Suzuki, but we get maybe another player, get 2 top 30 prospects, and then we put Paredes at first, and Alex Bregman signs here. I think the Astros can offer him 6 for $180, give him a $15 million signing bonus. Okay. Yeah. It gives him $200 million. And then you've got your core back, and you don't have Tucker, but now you've got a great first baseman, a hitting first baseman, and their problem solved back in the playoffs.
What about PCA? I mean, I'll trade for Pete Crow Armstrong as well. Yeah. So, but this guy he has some pop, but has a lot of speed. That's what I think. Outside of maybe Altuve and maybe Tucker, you don't have a lot of speed on this team. And so I think that if you can add somebody like Armstrong, he's got a lot of stolen bases. He upped his game last year. So I think this would be a good move for the Astros. So I think that adding a player like him, if you can't get Suzuki, you can add a couple prospects, but I don't know if they're going to give up PCA.
But okay. So he is a Mets first round. He's a round 1 overall pick, number 19. He has a picture with purple hair. That's interesting. He hit 237 last year. He did steal 27 bases. He did. Why did he only have 372 at bats? Did he just come up last year? For the first time?
Well, I think that last year was his first full year. He came up the year before, but we'll have to continue this conversation next. Guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day, whether it's on YouTube. Go ahead, subscribe to us, make us first listen. Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts, go and check us out.
This episode is brought to you by Game Time. Game Time is one of those apps that you have to go to if you are purchasing tickets anywhere. Use the promo code LOCKEDONMLB and get $20 off your first purchase. You've heard me talk about it. You've heard Eric talk about it. And I don't promote something if I don't believe in it. And I use it firsthand all the time. I'm going to be using it to take my son to some Rockets games over the Christmas break, get some really, really solid deals. And if I find the tickets in the same section, in the same row, for a lower price, I let Game Time know, and they give me 110% the difference, so I can have more money to go spend other places. And hey, spring training tickets are up for sale now for the Houston Astros. There's all kinds of stuff. Just check out Game Time today. Use the promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. What time is it? Game time.
Hey guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day, whether it's on YouTube. Go ahead, subscribe to us, make us first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Go ahead and check us out. Guys, thank you for making us your first listen going into the holidays. I know that Kyle Tucker and Alex Bregman, they're still Astros for now. Well, technically, Alex Bregman is not, but Kyle Tucker is. Framber Valdez is. So we'll see what happens over the next. I don't know if you follow Jose de Jesus Ortiz. He's got a lot of names, but he said that he's heard from sources that the Astros are going to trade Kyle Tucker within 48 hours. And this was about at 5:00 today. 5
yeah,
p.m.
I've seen that. And I've actually been told that, that they're about 90% sure that a deal is going to go down by Sunday is what someone told me that about an hour ago. And, I'm not going to say, sources tell me, but someone I talk to from time to time who typically is very accurate on their information that they give me. And I don't go tweet it out and try to go, look at me, the great sources guy. But I have a very strong feeling this is going to get done. And the reason why I think it gets done with the Cubs, Eric, is the Cubs have to do something. The Cubs haven't had a star player in years. The Cubs have not been good. They've really underperformed. And Kyle Tucker's the kind of player. And even if they don't sign him, Kyle Tucker's going to be motivated to play. Kyle Tucker's going to play his off. He's going to take care of right field for him. He's going to fill that need. He's a superstar player, and who knows? He could play himself into a contract in Chicago, but he's going to get paid somewhere. So, let's just sit back and watch what happens. And if that happens, and if we get Paredes back, if they're able to get Bregman back, dude, again, you got a great corner right there, first and third base. You don't have to depend on Singleton every single game. I like it. I like our chances with that. I think you can get Isaac Paredes. I would take Isaac Paredes, maybe one of their pitchers. I don't know their whole bullpen by heart. And then I would take, at least 2 top 30, maybe one of their top guys and one of their guys that's like right inside the 30. Maybe it takes 2 top 10 guys. I don't know. But Kyle Tucker, I would tell the Cubs, is going to be a $400+ million player. He's a 5-tool player. He's a more complete player than Juan Soto is. and you could sign him for half the price.
Yeah, there's a pitcher. I'm trying to think what his name is for the Cubs. There's Justin Steele, but I don't think that they would give him up. Javier Assad, that's a guy that I would go after. He's young. He was born in 1997. Geez, that's when I graduated, but high school. But
Why'd you mention when
he's
he was
somebody. But he's somebody that showed some promise last year. He had some ups and downs, of course. But he had a 7-6 record, 3.73 ERA. He had 124 strikeouts and 147 innings pitched. His whip was a little bit high, but I believe this was his – I want to say this was – I guess this was his third full season, but he has a career 3.40 ERA. So he's a pretty good pitcher. So he's somebody that if the Astros are able to get a hold of, I wouldn't mind having him. He's only 27 years old. So that would be a guy I wouldn't mind get a hold of.
27? Hold on, 27?
Yeah.
That's old, Eric. We don't want a 27-year-old pitcher. We want a pitcher younger than that.
Okay.
Don't we?
But we want somebody that can have instant impact right now. Like,
wait, is this a prospect or someone on their roster?
No, this is somebody that's been pitching for the Cubs. This is major league results.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. For some reason, I was in a prospect mindset because I was sitting here looking at their prospects. I was like, wait, he's a 27-year-old prospect. That's why I said that. Okay, my bad. Go ahead.
No, this is a guy with a career ERA, like I said, of 3.40 in 294 innings. He has 248 career major league strikeouts.
Oh, my bad. That's on me. I misunderstood the direction we were going. In my mind, I'm still thinking prospects. So keep going. So my bad.
So there's Justin Steele, but I don't think, if the Astros are able to get Justin Steele, go for it. I know he had to step back from his year before, but he's still a pretty good pitcher. Last year, he was 5-5 with the 3.07 ERA, 134 innings pitched, 135 strikeouts. But the year before, he was 16-5 with the 3.06 ERA, 167 strikeouts, and 173.1 innings pitched. So he's not much of a strikeout guy, but he's got good breaking pitches, and I think he would fit well on this Astro staff. But once again, I don't know if the Cubs would trade a guy like that.
Well, and I think too, you also have to look at their like barreled ball percentage. You would have to look at, are they a fly ball pitcher? Are they a ground ball pitcher? Because Minute Maid Park, look, let's just use this as an example. If you look at projections and deep analytics of Josh Hader, he actually is not your typical Minute Maid Park pitcher. He's actually performs better. Actually performs worse in Minute Maid Park than most other closers because of the way he throws. And we saw that he was susceptible to give up that long ball. So, and those are the things I don't have. I haven't done a deep dive into their roster.
Hey, Brett, real quick, while you have this up, paid enthusiast, sorry. But this is exactly why I think it's going to be the Yankees. Lewis Hill's caliber is just too exciting to pass up. I think the Astros are going to find a way to get this done just because of that pitcher. I did,
but that's the thing. I haven't heard anything outside of what they had.
Ken Rosenthal just came out with an article documenting how desperate the Yankees are to make this move. They have a surplus of pitching, and they need to reinforce their hitting. So trading for somebody like Kyle Tucker would fit. And the Astros are very, very, very intrigued by having Hill in their rotation.
Okay. I trust Rosenthal's thoughts because of all his, all the inside stuff that he gets. Up until that, I hadn't really, I had heard initially that they were intrigued, and everybody was checking in on them. But that makes sense because that would be, their plan B. They went out and signed a pitcher. They went out and got a big name, but they don't have that big bat. Now, if that's the case and you put Kyle Tucker in right field, does that mean you still have Juan Soto in center field. I mean, not Juan Soto, Aaron Judge in center field, which he's terrible in center field. So I guess I guess they would move Judge back to center field if they went ahead and got Kyle Tucker. But yeah, I guess it makes sense. The Yankees, though, I don't think they were willing. It sounded like they weren't willing to give up enough for what the Astros were asking. And I think that's what it will come down to is you got to give us our value and our guy. We can't just give you Tucker for nothing. Right. And I think the Yankees kind of feel like they can do that because they're the Yankees.
Oh, I think they also know that it's the Astros, and there's a very big rivalry between the two teams. And so I think they know that they have to not overpay, but they have to make sure they give the Astros value. So, Gil, it's pronounced, it's spelled Gil, but you're supposed to say it like with a silent G. So it's like Hill. But he's just a rookie, so he has like 4 or 5 years left.
Now, here's the thing, and I did see this as well. Corey says that the Yankees are still pursuing a trade with the Cubs for Cody Bellinger.
Yeah, now, it could be a 3-way.
You think a 3-way between the Astros, the Yankees, and the Cubs?
They could work it out that way, where if the Astros can't get what they want from the Cubs, then they can just work a 3-way where the Yankees get Bellinger and maybe a prospect, and then they give the Cubs what they want. There's a way to make it work.
The Astros could get Lewis Gill from the Yankees, and then we can get Paredes from the Cubs.
Yeah.
Look, let me just tell you, Juan Soto has set the Major League Baseball world on fire, and that's why we are where we are.
Yeah. So, guys, we're going to continue this conversation next. Thank you for a late night edition during the offseason of the Locked On Astros podcast. We appreciate our everydayers, and thank you for tuning in with us. We'll talk about the other two teams that are involved reportedly in a trade that could go down in the next 48 hours. We'll talk about those other two teams next.
That's right. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, or the Rams and the 49ers are going at it in a 6-3 battle, then you can check out those stats, check out the play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. So just to visit FanDuel.com today and join. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet, not $50, not $500, $5 bet wins. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
Hey guys, we're here all off season for all your rumors, all the where the heck is Kyle Tucker going? Because I don't know if anybody knows, but rumors are 48 hours. So I can just imagine. By the way, there's a new 48, or no, it's 24. There's a new 24 coming out with Kiefer Sutherland.
What?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
He's be walking around with
Bauer.
Yeah.
Oh,
he's gonna be like, you got 24 hours. He'd be like, okay, let me get my walker. But
you know what, though? That show, that was a great show, like the first season or two, and then
it got very predictable. Yeah,
I think there was a point when I watched that show and I thought, you know what? Wait, I just watched how many hours of a day? It was like, you know what I'm saying? Like you realize you're just watching 1 hour of one day.
Yeah, you forget about that because you're watching a whole season. It goes on for months, and you're like, his hair changed. How does his hair change?
Oh, man.
So, guys, thank you for making the Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. But we are going to be talking about this all off season. And I know we've talked a lot about the Cubs. We talked a lot about the Yankees. We don't really know who's totally involved, but a team that I kind of surprised Brett with before the show is the Giants. And of course, we know the Phillies. The Phillies are in on all the former Astros. They're trying to get Ryan Presley, apparently trying to get Alex Bregman. And now they're trying to go ahead and get, well, not former, but current and former Astros.
Right.
But they're also trying to trade for Kyle Tucker, but also the Giants. The Giants, fresh off of stealing our future third baseman from us. Willie, let's just, what's his last name? I can't remember.
Willie Adames.
That's what it is. But stealing him from us to play shortstop. They're actually thinking about trading for Kyle Tucker. And so that would make sense because they've had a hard time getting star players to go over there. Adames was their biggest star to go over there. I know they had to pay a lot, but also a name I've seen reported in that possible trade, Mike Yastrzemski. Yastrzemski. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Yastrzemski.
Yeah. Look, I like the name. I like Mike Yastrzemski. I think he's a good player. Mike Yastrzemski though doesn't move the needle for me.
Right.
Do what now?
He's just a guy. Just like Suzuki is a little bit more than a guy, but
well, they have guys that are more than just guys. I mean, I would take Helio Ramirez or Ramos before I would take him. And actually, look, Ramos is a left fielder though. That's the only issue. You have, I just don't know who the Giants are going to have. They don't have a ton of exciting guys to go grab, Eric. We are looking for prospect capital. They have Bryce Eldridge and James Tibbs are their only two top 100 guys. Now, Bryce Eldridge is a first baseman. His ETA is 2026, but he's 6'7", Eric, 223. He's a left-handed bat. He would fill a first base need. And even though he's scheduled for 2026, you could probably bring him up sooner rather than later. James Tibbs is high A. Then there's Carson Wisenhunt, a left-handed pitcher, AAA. His arrival says 2025. And so when you look at him, he went all the way up to AAA, and he had 135 strikeouts on 104 innings as a lefty. So that's not bad. A whip of 1.61, gave up an average of 280, but he is in the PCL, so that's a little different. But he jumped from single A to AAA. So those are three names right there, Eric, that could fill a need from the Giants. It's just what major league guy are they going to bring over, and who would be worth it? Who makes you better? Does Yastrzemski make you better? I don't know. Does Ramos make you better? I think
Scripps. Yeah, he's still on the team. Yeah, he's still on the team.
Yeah.
By the way, we can always bring a Villar back to the team.
No.
David Villar.
Oh,
I don't think he's related.
Jesus, Eric, what are you doing? Eric's off the rails tonight. I don't know.
There's also Robbie Ray we could trade for.
No,
I'm kidding. A guy I would not mind to have is actually Kyle Harrison. He didn't have as great a season last year, but he showed some promise. He's shown some promise in the season before a little bit, but he was a former top prospect, but his numbers aren't great. But I think with the Astros, I think you can see the numbers improve.
Yeah, he was 7-7 this year, 124 innings pitched, 118 strikeouts. Did give up 18 home runs. Walked 42 batters. That's not
still just 23.
Yeah, so his walks per 9 inning is 3. His Ks per 9 inning is 8.5. When he was in AAA, he was averaging 14.9. Dude, he didn't throw, but that was low A, high A, double A. But like my friend Mike Stanton, prospects are always one line away from being suspects. I mean, that's
but at the same time, see what the Astros have done to players like Charlie Morton Garrett Cole. I mean, Garrett
I
Cole is
understand.
good, but
For Kyle Tucker, you are not getting a guy that
no,
you're trying
that's just one of the pieces, not the centerpiece. I'm
Well, I
just
know.
saying.
But even in a Kyle Tucker, like if I value Kyle Tucker the way that I think, if Kyle Tucker is valued the way that I think that the Astros value him, there is no way that they are going to settle for a guy even as a piece. I think they want and that's where the hang up is with the Cubs. They probably want both of their last top 2 picks. That's what they want. They're asking. Kyle Tucker is the unicorn right now. Nobody else has a Kyle Tucker. He is the
What
best.
if I trump that?
Huh?
What if the Astros are saying we want you to take Ryan Presley at the same time?
Well, you could do that, but they don't need a Ryan Presley in San Francisco.
With the Cubs.
With the Cubs? Well, yeah, I mean the Cubs, and then they would send over Cody Bellinger to counter.
No. I'm just saying. I thought you were saying with the top 2 prospects.
Weren't you
talking about the Cubs?
No, I was talking about the Giants because we were talking about the
Okay.
Giants. Yeah. So, man, we're all over the map today, dude. Long day for both of us for sure. I know me, long day at school. We got finals tomorrow. Tough basketball game tonight. Took one on the chin tonight from Deer Park. That's okay. Deer Park, we're coming for you in the district championship game. That's for sure. If we play y'all again, but man, there's now look, the Phillies thing, Eric. I know we mentioned the Phillies, and I know we got to get out of here, but the Phillies just doesn't move me because it's Castellanos and it's some guy that has a 4 ERA the last 2 years. And the Phillies thing just doesn't move me. Now, the Phillies are the one team that has the flexibility that they could trade for Tucker and sign him on to a pretty large deal because they have the financial room. So that may be an end that we're not really talking about right now.
Yeah. So the one thing with Tucker's free agent is that they have, like, when a player typically goes to a team like Paul Goldschmidt, Arenado, they typically have worked out extensions shortly right after they've been traded over to that team. So that's something to look at. I think that no matter where Kyle Tucker goes, he's going to want to play with that team for a little bit too. So I think that's going to go into consideration into where he goes. But no matter who you believe or if you believe anything right now, whether it's 48 hours or 24 hours, it's at this point, you almost have to trade Kyle Tucker at this point because, I mean, whether it's Dana Brown, he never really came out and said, yeah, we're trading him. But there's been so much commotion that Kyle Tucker's going to be like, well, y'all tried to trade me this offseason. And I know it's a business and they're professionals, but
well, it did progress. They did go from we're listening to we're talking to. We're listening to trade proposals. Now we're talking to teams about trading. So they upped it themselves. And so the Astros want to get this done. The Astros cannot afford PR wise to let the 5th player go in a row that they said we're not going to sign him because we're waiting to sign him. Because last year in 2023, Dana Brown said that the Houston Astros are going to make Kyle Tucker an Astro for life. He said that. And look, hey, I'm telling you, I think Bregman's staying here. I've said that all along. Bregman's market is inflated by Scott Boras and Scott Boras alone. Bregman just had moving pieces of bone removed from his elbow this last year. He has declined offensively the last 3 seasons. Is he still a very good option? Yes. Does he have intangibles? 100%. Is he a champion? Yes. Oh, and one of Boris's zingers, Alex Bregman is A and B. You know, comes after B, A and B, C, championships. I'm like, who writes these things for this guy?
No, C, a championship.
C,
You're
right.
supposed to say at the same time. C, a championship.
Okay, Eric, I'm sorry. Are you his writer? I'm just telling you.
Yes.
I'm just telling you. God bless.
It's a dad joke. It's a dad joke.
Scott Boras is corny as hell, okay? I'm sorry. He's rich. Right. He's corny. And I'm telling y'all, Don't be mad if Alex Bregman comes back. He's not going to get the deal he wants. He's going to come back here, and then they're going to trade Kyle Tucker. We're going to have Isaac Paredes at first, and it's going to kick butt, and we are going to shove this year. 2025, I think, has a lot of good signs. We are not rebuilding, we're resetting.
I think you answered the big question is if the Cubs are trading for Kyle Tucker, what's taking so long? Well, if they are going after Isaac Paredes, maybe they don't need him if they do bring back Bregman. So I saw a report. I saw John Heyman talking, said there's two teams realistically in on Bregman right now, and you can never rule out the Astros. The Astros are going to do what it takes to bring him back. And so does that mean they're going to outspend anybody? No, they're not going to go. They're not going to give him the most money. They're not going to give him the most years, but Bregman knows what it's like to be a Houston Astro. He doesn't know what it's like to be a Yankee, so to speak. He doesn't know what it's like to be a Red Sox. He doesn't know what it's like to be a Philly.
Yeah. He is an Astro. Him and Altuve are tight. Another thing too, Framber Valdez. I think that deal can get done, Eric. You wait till 26 to sign him. I don't think he's going to get $100 and something million contract, but he is also a unicorn. Who else is out there giving you 180 to 200 plus innings a season? Yeah. It's Framber Valdez. He is pretty much injury free for the most part. He shoves. Right. He tries his butt off. Yeah, he falters from time to time, but you can't replace 180 innings anywhere. And I had those talks, Eric, have gone nowhere. I haven't heard anything about him. So I don't think people are even checking in on that guy.
So with Framber Valdez, I don't know if there's a lot of talk around him, but I did see a report about Luis Castillo with the Mariners. Not that they are actively shopping for him, but there's such a big market for controllable pitchers right now because of what the teams are having to pay for starters. So the Mariners are like, sure, we're not going to hang up. If you want Luis Castillo, we'll go ahead and listen.
We'll get this. So the Mariners have talked to the Red Sox about Casas for Luis Castillo, but it's the contract. I floated the idea of Valdez to Boston for Casas. Okay. It was pretty cool. Jim Riley over at a Ball Cap Sports actually featured my little, he goes, this was H.M. Wellhouse's brainchild. I think this would be a great trade. If you get Isaac Paredes and you don't get Bregman, then you can put Paredes at third. You can put Casas at first. Casas for Valdez would make sense because Valdez does only have one controllable year. Now Casas has like 3 or 4. He's got more, but you could do almost a straight up trade that way. And from Dana Brown's lips, he said, we've got like 10 pitchers. And I'm like, I hope you're not counting on the guys that are on the IL right now or recovering, but we realistically have 6 or 7. But anyways, at the end of the day, Eric, whatever happens, we just have to trust what the Astros are doing. I think Jim Crane has taken notice that you can't go along any longer the way you were. You have to shift because you don't have the prospects. You don't have a bevel of talent coming up. You don't have a Jeremy Pena. And at the end of the day, you've got to change the way you do things. And the way things are panning out, Eric, the Astros may actually win the preseason or the offseason, I should say.
Yeah, and if you're looking, I've seen some reports that the Red Sox and the Mariners are even having some discussions about Casas for Castillo as part of a package. That wouldn't be totally out of realm of possibility. So that's all we got for this edition of Locked On Astros podcast. A little bit extended edition, but we had some stuff to talk about. So will Kyle Tucker still be here? Well, come tomorrow? We don't know. That's the great thing about the offseason. Go and make us your first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify. If something happens, we'll come in and talk about it tomorrow. Thank you for making us first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. Go and check us out, and we will see you tomorrow. And Brett, what do we say?
Go Stros.